What's up, gamers? Happy Friday. Turns out we got absolutely no Destiny news this week, which is pretty surprising. But other than that, welcome back to Hotfix, your daily dose of gaming news. My name is Max. Yesterday was April 6th, 2017, and let's get right into it. Now, as I'm sure you've heard, Project Scorpio was finally detailed yesterday by Digital Foundry. What I'm mostly surprised about is that Microsoft actually came through with what we expected and what they were saying about the console. They were saying it can handle 4K, and it can, and pretty well. The console was shown off playing Forza 6 at 4K resolution, 60 frames per second, and it was only running at 60 to 70% of its power, which is unreal. Now, of course, it's important to mention that Forza 6 is a linear game and it's also 2 years old. It's not like an open world game or anything like that. Kind of interesting that they didn't show something like Forza Horizon 3, but this is still really cool to see. And what's even more awesome is that most people don't have a 4K television, myself included, but the Scorpio can still upscale games on a 1080p TV. Those playing on a non-4K TV will still receive performance and loading benefits as well as super sampled resolutions. The game DVR can now record in 4K 60 FPS as opposed to the 720p 30 frames per second. That is a massive upgrade. It's also bringing over the Xbox One S's 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray player, which is great for those who have those. Now, there are all these people that are saying that the Scorpio means the death to PlayStation 4 Pro, and it really doesn't, and that's for one simple reason: games. Scorpio still doesn't really have any great games that we know of coming out to it. We may be getting Crackdown, but that's not enough. Even with Sea of Thieves and the Phantom Dust remaster, that's nothing. All three of those could come at launch day, and the Scorpio would not be justified. We still don't even know the price either. So we're still gonna wait till E3 before we start saying that this is gonna spell the death for the PlayStation. However, it's really nice to see everyone being optimistic about Xbox and where Microsoft is heading with it. We'll have to see. Andromeda has been the big news topic this week. The patch that we've been talking about for quite a bit finally went live yesterday. It does a lot of small fixes, but the big things are that it improves facial animations and just how they look in general. It increases inventory limits. It improves any matchmaking latency issues you may be having, but remember that it's peer-to-peer, it's not on dedicated servers, so you still may have issues every once in a while. It's good to see them patching their game up this quickly, and we know that there are quite a few more patches coming throughout the months, so stay tuned here at Hotfix for details on those as they come out. Speaking of patches, For Honor's 1.5 update is out now. Basically, it's just a small patch that fixes a few bugs and exploits that people have been having. Also good to see them updating their game, even though it's been receiving a lot of weird criticisms lately, such as players wanting to boycott it because of the way microtransactions are being handled. Interesting stuff, but I guess we shouldn't really expect any less from Ubisoft lately. They've kind of been trying to take advantage of gamers in the smallest of ways. You probably heard that Yooka-Laylee is kind of mediocre, right? Well, lucky for you, it's not coming out until April 11th, and Playtonic Games has heard some of those criticisms and has already issued a day one patch to address some of them. Basically, the patch is going to introduce a bunch of performance and camera updates. I doubt that'll change many of the scores, but it is nice to see that they're doing something to help with that. Lots of updates and patch notes today. Yesterday, DICE revealed their roadmap for the future of Battlefield 1. Those interested are going to want to go onto DICE's site and check out the full list of updates, but the gist of it is that they really talk about the expansions they're going to bring in, that the game is going to receive monthly patch updates instead of seasonal ones, and that the platoons system that DICE has been testing out will be ready to go in the spring update. Like the other games, it's great to see DICE constantly supporting their game. Call of Duty was in the news yesterday and now today, both for things you wouldn't really expect. Yesterday they announced their cinematic universe, and today they announced that the Candy Crush Saga developers are working on a mobile Call of Duty game. Isn't that just thrilling? According to the article, King didn't necessarily say they're working on a game, they're working on an experience, but they're known for making games, so chances are very high that's going to be a game anyways. This is the first thing to come out of Activision's purchase of King back in 2015 for $6 billion. Christ, $6 billion for a mobile developer. While I don't really like the term eSports, this is pretty cool to see. The University of Utah is to start a Varsity eSports program. It's going to be starting out with just League of Legends, and depending on the success, they're going to add other games later on. I'm assuming games like Counter-Strike and Heroes of the Storm, and probably even Dota. Players can potentially receive partial scholarships by participating in the program, according to the Salt Lake Tribune. The school's website says this: eSports has had a dramatic rise in popularity in the US over the last last few years, especially on college campuses, said AJ Dimmick, Director of Operations for the U's new eSports program. We think college eSports is a great opportunity and we want our students to be a part of it. We can thank the Salt Lake Tribune for that quote as well. The university claims it will be the first of the Power 5 athletics conference schools to have an eSports program. Well, again, I hate the term eSports because it kind of puts the wrong perspective on this sort of thing. When you call it an esport, people get offended and they're like, oh, it's not a sport, you're sitting there, even though chess is a sport. But then there's some people's definitions of sports differ. To me, it's just competitive gaming, and I think it's really cool, but just calling it an esport is weird and a little pretentious in my opinion. But I guess it gets the point across pretty quickly. The developer of the original StarFox is interested in making a new game for the Nintendo Switch. Since the original StarFox, Dylan Cuthbert has founded Q Games and made the Pixel Junk series, Star Fox 64 3DS, and the Tomorrow Children. In a recent Reddit AMA he did, people just kept asking about Star Fox over and over again, and while he said he has a few ideas for a new game, he would be open to one if Nintendo was interested, but he wanted to make it very clear that he isn't working on one right now. It's nice to see that the interest in the series is still there, especially after last year's Star Fox Zero was kinda shit. Well folks, that's about it for yesterday's news. Make sure to like the video down below if this recap helped you. Leave your thoughts in the comments below as always, and be sure to hit that subscribe button down below for free daily news updates straight to your inbox every Tuesday to Friday. It also just helps me out a lot. I'll see you guys next weekend. This is Max signing off.